Boy, don't give me a mic. I got so much stuff up here. Anyway. All right. Good looking crowd. That will. I'll get to it. My name's Tim Hicks. Bobby Layton Hicks' son. And I'm going to give some opening remarks this morning, and y'all just bear with me. So, good morning, everyone. On behalf of our family, I want to thank you for being here today to celebrate the life of my dad, Bobby Layton Hicks. It means the world to us to see so many faces, family, friends, people whose lives he touched in one way or another. You know, if Dad was here right now, he'd probably be grinning ear to ear, wondering what all the fuss was about. And then he'd crack a joke just to make sure none of us got too serious. That was Dad. He had this way of finding joy in just about anything, and he shared the joy so naturally. Even on the toughest days, he could lighten the room with a smile. Or a quick one-liner that reminded us everything was okay. Over the past week, our families received so many kind words, stories, memories, messages. Even in the hall here, it just continues. From people whose lives he's touched, it has become clear just how kind, joyful, and genuinely good he was. Everyone who came in contact with him seemed to walk away a little happier than when they arrived. That was his gift. He lifted people up simply by being himself. We will miss him deeply. His humor, his warmth, steady presence. His influence lives on in the people who he loved, in the friends he made, and in the joy he brought into the world. Today, as we begin this service, we honor a life well lived and well loved. Thank y'all.
Good morning. I'm Tina, and I am Bobby's daughter-in-law and Tim's wife. Today we gather to remember and celebrate the life of Bobby, a man who was deeply loved and will be dearly missed. We come together not only with sadness, but gratitude. Gratitude for the years we were blessed to share with him. Bobby had a way of making life lighter. He brought joy into ordinary moments, and he gave his love freely, whether through a smile, a story, or the simple way that he cared for his family. As we look back on his life, we hold tightly to the memories that make us smile, the little moments that shaped our days. Those memories are gifts, reminders of how deeply he loved and how deeply he was loved. And in times like this, our faith becomes an anchor. We're reminded that this moment is not the end of Bobby's story. God, in his kindness, has promised us that death is not a goodbye. It's a doorway into everlasting life. Jesus said in John 14, 1-3, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? If I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am." These words give us comfort today. They remind us that Bobby is now in the presence of God, whole, at peace, and surrounded by a love far greater than anything we can imagine. Though we will miss him deeply, we take heart in knowing this: Bobby is safe, he is home, and one day we will see him again. As we honor him today, may we hold tight to our faith, to one another, and to the love that always keeps Bobby close in our hearts. May God's peace and comfort be with us today and in all the days ahead. All right, there we go. Wow. Okay, hold on. I looked at Hunter and I shouldn't have. Hi, my name is Taylor Plunkett and I am Bobby's oldest granddaughter. And to me, my granddad was magical. Growing up, I loved art class. It felt like home. It was so much fun. And I was really good at it. As I got older, I remember looking around and realizing, wait, I'm pretty positive Granddad is the only grown-up I know that can actually draw. Actually, besides my art teachers, he was literally the only artist I knew. Dad could build anything, Mom can make anything look cute, but no one was like Granddad. He could paint, he could draw, he could build things, make collages, create anything out of nothing. It felt like he had this superpower that no other grown-up in the world had. He had a way of turning ordinary things into something beautiful: a piece of wood, an arrowhead, scraps of metal, even just a moment. He could make it feel like art. Being around him made the world feel more interesting, more colorful, and full of possibility. So now, as an adult, I realize just how special it is that I inherited some of that from him. My eye for design, my ability to create, the excitement I get when I see something beautiful. That did not just show up randomly. That came straight from him. And knowing that I get to carry even a small part of his creativity is something I will be proud of forever. He was a real artist, and I will always be grateful he made me one too. We did it. I was doing well till that. Okay. All good, sis. Hi, I am Tori, Bobby's youngest granddaughter. Growing up, everyone always told me I reminded them of grandmother, and I love that. But as I grew, I realized I also carry so much of Granddad with me, and I hope I always do. Granddad made everything feel lighter. If I told a story, even something small, he laughed like I was the funniest person in the room,
Between him and Aunt Melanie, it always felt like I was a headliner on a Saturday night. If I told a story, oh my gosh. He brought joy into every space he entered. He was not loud, not flashy, it just was real. And when the music played, he didn't wait, he danced. Because joy wasn't something he held inside, it was something he shared. That's what I hope to carry forward. The laughter, the ease, and the joy of simply being together. Granddad, we'll see you again when the music starts. Thank you.
I'm Sylvia Hicks, Bobby's second wife. Before I read the love letter to my husband that I wrote on our first anniversary, I'd like to give an acknowledgement to all those that are out there on the live stream that couldn't be here in person with us. We feel your love and your support and appreciate you being part of our ceremony. So this is called Who, Why, What, Where, When. Who do I love? I love the man who answers to Bobby Layton Hicks. Why do I love Bobby? He takes good care of me. He tells me what he likes and asks for what he wants. He lets me know when he appreciates something I have done. He's a good team player. He's a true playmate. He watches my back. He makes me laugh every day. He doesn't take advantage of people. He says yes and shows up. He's the father of 2 terrific kids who contribute to society in admirable ways with their talents. What do I love about Bobby? I love that he is honest, plays fair, and is generous. I love that he is open to learning new things. I love that he is caring, adventurous, and an attentive listener. I love his willingness to change. I love that he can make me laugh every day. I love that he is a good man with a good heart. I love his innocence. Where do I love Bobby? I love him in the country, in the city, in the garden. I love him under the sheets, in the shower, under the stars. I love him while riding in the mule, feeding the cows, and cutting mesquites together. I love him while riding in the truck in silence or listening to country tunes. I love him where he is. When do I love Bobby? When I wake up in the morning, when I drift off to sleep at night, when he walks me around the neighborhood, when he invites me to go to the gym to exercise, when he asks me to dance, when he takes care of his woman in ways that count, when he watches my back, when he shares his most memorable moment of the day with me, when he listens to what I have to say. On November 9th, 2025, Bobby departed the physical world, but his spirit will live on in the hearts of those who cherished him, as we all do cherish him. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melanie Skaggs. I'm Bobby's daughter. When I think about my dad, the first thing that comes to mind is this feeling that everything will be all right. And no matter what comes our way, we can figure it out. One of my earliest memories is dancing with him in our living room. He'd turn on the radio or put on one of his old records, and he'd let me stand on his feet. We'd dance around. Then we'd switch partners and he'd dance with my mom. Music and laughter filled our house. Ooh, deep breath, guys. All right. I know this probably makes you guys cry too. Okay, so he did love his stereo systems, and we would actually tease him about how many stereo systems he had bought over the years, but he loved good music. When we lived out at the camp in Terrell, he'd take me and Tim down to the river after work to fish and swim. There was this little place with rapids, and my job was to kick over the rocks while he waded downstream with his homemade nets. These were wooden frames with wire stretched across them, his own invention to catch bait. And you'd think that a bucket full of minnows would have been just fine, but not for my dad. After a few kicks, he'd lift up the net full of the ugliest, scariest creatures you have ever seen. It's like straight out of something from a horror movie. Hellgamites. He taught me how to grab them just right behind the head so they wouldn't wrap around my finger. Don't be scared, he'd say. You just have to know how to handle them. And that turned out to be a good life lesson, too. Years later, sitting in science class at Angelo State, the professor flashed a picture up of one of those ugly little suckers. And he asked if anyone knew what it was. And I confidently raised my hand and I said, well, that's a hellgamite. And I could not wait to tell him that story. He was so proud. So we didn't have a typical household setup when we were growing up. Because of his job with El Paso Natural Gas, Dad lived out at the gas plant while my mother taught school in town. On weekends, we'd pack up and go stay with him, which was about an hour's drive out of Sanderson. And even though he was out there in the middle of nowhere, he never missed a game or a school event. And those weekends at the camp were just pure adventure. Hiking, exploring the canyons, looking for arrowheads, and digging and sifting through dirt in caves, again, with more of his homemade screens. And I feel like my dad could do anything, and he taught me all kinds of things. How to shoot a gun, how to drive a stick shift. He taught me how to change a tire, how to spot a car driving down the highway that needed a ring job, and even to cook a mean pot of chili. He had this kindness that everyone felt. I honestly can't remember him saying anything bad about anyone. And as a sassy teenager, I would sometimes make some smart comments about somebody, and he would stop me every time. And he would just say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And that simple advice says everything about who he was. My dad, he was a hard worker, but he also liked to have fun, and he loved to gamble. Horse races in Ruidoso were a favorite family trip. He taught me and Tim how to pick horses and place bets, and not just straight bets like win, place, and show. No, we could do the trickier, more exotic ones like a quinella or a trifecta. And I don't think we ever hit it big, but we sure had a lot of excitement and a lot of fun. Later, when the Lucky Eagle Casino opened in like 1996 in Eagle Pass, he was thrilled. A casino without having to drive all the way to New Mexico. And I'll never forget our first trip down to Eagle Pass. This wasn't the fancy place that it is today. We turned down this dusty road, and the first thing we saw was a big bingo hall sign. We walked in totally out of place, and we're the only ones there that didn't speak Spanish. But before long, the people around us were helping us mark our bingo cards, cheering us on, and that was Dad. No matter where he went, people liked him, and no matter what the situation. And that's really how he lived life. Laid back, easygoing, being likable and kind, finding a way through whatever life brought his way. He taught me to be brave, self-sufficient, to laugh, to find the good in people, and to believe, no matter what happens, it's going to be all right.
So Bobby went to a service not long ago, and he really loved that people got up and shared some of their favorite memories. So at this time, if anyone has a special memory they want to share, please come forward and we'll take a few of those before we do a closing prayer.
My name is Annette, and I'm a friend of Sylvia. Some people come into your life, and you maybe don't spend a lot of time with them, but the impact they have on you is so powerful. I've never been around anybody in my life like Bobby. Everything that his family has said about his joy for life, his personality, his enthusiasm for life is just spot on. I've never in my life met anybody like him. And I've always been so jealous of Sylvia because she snagged him. So I know this, he would be thrilled to see everybody here, and we are really gonna miss Bobby. He was just such a wonderful, wonderful person. The first time I ever met him was with Sylvia. We were involved in politics, and we were going down to shout on the truckers as they drove down I-10. And we don't know what went wrong. We didn't see a lot of truckers, but anyway, we had a great time. And that was my first exposure to Bobby. So we got to be in the car together, going and coming. And I just fell in love with he and Sylvia. And my heart goes out to you, babe. He's a great man, and we're all going to miss him.
So I'm not going to look at my family. I'm Irene, and Tim is my son-in-law. Melanie, I've known you since you were a little tyke. Bobby, we were neighbors for about 10 years. And I know that there's a common theme here. And that theme is Bobby was happy. He was a very happy man, always had a smile on his face. And the Tim and Melanie, you both have that. It's just so evident. You always have something good to say. You make people happy. And you should be proud of your dad. And I know you are. The last time I saw Bobby, he and Sylvia had taken over the dance floor at Taylor and Drake's wedding. They Bobby, he went all night. I mean, and you know, he's a good dancer. I had no idea. But he was having a great time. And, you know, we know that he struggled with health issues, and he never let it diminish his spirit in any way. And, you know, that's a lesson for all of us to take is don't give up. Always have a smile, be kind, like Bobby was. Sorry. When Bobby started painting, he painted something for me and sent it to me, mailed it to me. He signed it. I have a signed original from Bobby Hicks. And I recently moved from El Paso to Austin, and I was unpacking yesterday, and I brought it to Austin especially. I gave almost everything else away, but I brought that because every time I would look at it, it would make me smile. And I already know where I'm going to hang it, and I'll always, always have that memory of Bobby. So, you know, everyone here loves you, all the family. Taylor and Tori, you are his favorite granddaughters. So anyway, Sylvia, I know you'll miss him, as all of us will, but he was a good man, he was a kind man, and you know, what else can I say? He leaves a legacy for everyone to be proud of.
Good morning. My name is Bill Sad. I'm a friend and neighbor of Bobby and Sylvia. My best memory of the two of them, they would walk down to the mailbox each day, pick up their mail, and then holding hands, they'd be walking back up Heritage Hill Place. And if I happened to be driving and catching them as they're walking, I would sneak up quietly, roll down my window. I'd say something funny. Bobby and Sylvia would respond in kind. We'd have a nice extended nothing exchange. But shortly after Bobby and Sylvia moved in, I learned that Bobby was a javelin thrower. Now, there aren't no one else has mentioned the javelin. You've mentioned the mule, but at one point we had 3 javelin throwers in Heritage Hill. Jerry Dyes, who was world class, he threw well over 280. Bobby started throwing as I did in high school, then into college, and I learned from Tim earlier that Bobby continued throwing into middle age. And now I'm the last javelin thrower. God bless you, Sylvia. Bobby was special.
Hi, my name is Teresa Jones, Tina's sister. I'm not going to look at them. That's a really good point. Thank you. So Bobby in our family, we have 2 boys, was Uncle Bobby. And gratitude is the word. We were just always so happy to see him coming down the dirt road. My kids would run to him, and he would sit out there as long as they wanted, you know, trying to shoot birds, chee-chee birds, any kind of bird. He would sit on this little stool as long as they wanted, and just pure joy. and young at heart. I just keep thinking, you know, from young to old, everybody gravitated to Bobby. And those little ones, they absolutely adored him. And not because of anything he did or anything he bought them, which he did get them their very first BB gun. And they were about this big. He was ready for it. But it's the time he spent with them that was the real gift, and we will forever be grateful for that, Hunter and I. And on a lighter note, Tina and I this week were just cracking up at, during those years when we had the boys, the ranch house was amazing, but quite small, and 2 little kids, 2 teenagers, and Bobby would come, and he would just come with his sleeping bag, and here Tina and I are now complaining about which mattress, and is our room big enough, and quite picky. And it was a great reminder that none of that mattered. He would show up with his sleeping bag, roll it out on an old sofa. He never had a backache. He was the first one up, the last one to bed. He was chipper and so happy. It didn't matter if a baby cried, if Hunter and Tim kept him up late night solving the world's problems. He was always so joyful. And anyway, we're just so grateful. Thank you for sharing him with us, and thank you for all the amazing stories today. They were really, really sweet. Thank you.
I am Kay. I'm a friend of Sylvia and Bobby through dancing. And I just want to share, like the rest of you guys, just how full of joy he was, and just seeing the joy that he gave Sylvia on the dance floor was beautiful.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. I'm Libby James. I'm Tina and Tim's cousin. I lived with them in high school, Tina and Tim, and every time I saw Bobby, he just makes you feel so special. One year we went out to Montana, and Bobby went with us, and I remember the first day we were there, I was like, my whole body was hurting, because I was like, I've been traveling all day, and Bobby was still moving around more than me. I was like 21 at the time, and he stayed up later than me that night, but the whole time we were there, he just talks to you like you're the only one in the room. It makes you feel so incredibly special and just so incredibly happy. I have one really fun memory of whenever I graduated from high school. He sent me a letter in the mail congratulating me for graduating, and he sent me some money, and Tim saw how much money he sent me, and Tim was like, "What? He has never given me any kind of money like that." And it just makes me feel so special every time I saw him. He always kept up with me and made me feel like I was his granddaughter too, even though I wasn't. He was just an incredibly sweet man. Every time I saw him, I just thought, wow, he is just so sweet. I wish I had that much energy. He was so loved, and so are you, Melanie, and so are you, Tim.
So I have to add to Libby's story, because when we were in Montana, Bobby was maybe 82-ish, and 83. We were staying in this little townhouse, and they all looked alike. He went into the wrong one right next door to us. And he walked in the kitchen, whistling, I'm sure, and noticed there was cereal on the counter and realized Tina wouldn't have spilled cereal all over the counter, and he was in the wrong townhouse. So he left, and of course we're teasing him. It has to be older age, and he just wasn't paying attention, and he got confused. And then Libby's younger brother, who was like 19, did the same thing. So luckily they didn't get shot, and they were fine. But yeah, that was a funny story. So the other thing that hasn't been mentioned is, because Bobby was so humble and and kind too is, did y'all know some of the artifacts he found are in the Whitty Museum in San Antonio? So all his treasure hunting paid off for him.
I'm Louis Bernard. Like Kay, my wife Dorothy and I know Bobby and Sylvia primarily as the group that hangs out in the dance halls. And we've been doing that for about 10 years, and I can assure you Bobby and Sylvia were a couple of the star attractions. Every time we went, it wasn't a case of blending in. They drew attention, and they were good at it. I was fortunate to see Bobby only about 2 weeks ago. We happened to bump into each other in town, and it was really just like any other time that I've ever met or talked to Bobby. If you didn't shake his hand and pat him on the shoulder and greet him quickly, he beat you to it. Every time. He was one of the friendliest guys I ever bumped into. Most of us have sour days, but it seemed like he only had good days, at least every day that I interacted with him. What impressed me the most was how in the dickens he always managed such a big smile. You know, most folks can do a smile, but Bobby just had a unique one and a big one, and you knew he really meant it. He's the kind of guy that you're really glad you came across him in life, because there aren't really many like him. Thank you.
I'm Hunter Jones, Teresa's husband, Tim and Tina's brother-in-law. And I'm like the biggest softie, so I'm not gonna be able to get through any stories here. I ask you please bow your head. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with hearts full of gratitude for the life of Bobby Hicks. Bobby was always smiling, quick to laugh, and his heart was always for others. His joy for life touched everyone he met, and we are blessed to be able to see Bobby and the family he leaves behind. Lord, we thank you for the gift of his presence and the love he shared so freely. Comfort his family and his friends in this time of sorrow, and let your peace surround them. May Bobby's legacy of kindness, laughter, and selflessness continue to inspire us all. We entrust him to your eternal care, knowing he is safe and whole in your presence. Amen.
Okay. That's it? Okay. So this concludes our services here at the funeral home. And what we're going to do is we're going to start in the back. Y'all are welcome to come forward, exit out the side door over here to your right. So we'll start in the back first. And the interment will be at 2 o'clock at the London Cemetery this afternoon. So those that wish, we'll meet y'all up there. So we'll start in the back first, please.